Alright, so today we're going to be going through Aphelion and taking this scene right here, and I want a close-up of this character for our guy Chris to look at. So right here he looks towards him, and I want him to be looking at this guy, but I don't have an actual good take of him close up in the bar room. So the closest thing that I have is this. And so that's this scene right here where I got the two of them interacting, but I really want a more dramatic close-up. So what we do is take this guy and we're gonna cut him out so that we can place him into the background of this scene. So we've got the lighting changing right there, and we're gonna go in later and pick our favorite parts of that lighting change. But what is cool is that it's actually going to work perfectly in accordance with the fact that the light is changing in this scene right here. So we go in. While selecting that clip, we take the opacity and we mask it. We use the pen tool, and we're going to draw all the way around him as to cut him out. Not all of your cuts are going to be perfect the first time around, but as to continue forward, you just keep finishing your shape first, and then you can go in and add these little hairs in between here like we're going to end up doing later. Right there, sometimes you'll make little mistakes. The pen tool is really finicky. If it ends up kind of fudging on you, just Control Z back a little bit until you undo whatever mistake you made. Sometimes if you click too close to other dots that you've already made, it'll make a rounding on it, or it's like impossible basically to kind of like go backwards on these, which is why we're finishing our shape first. And then once you do have that, you can add as many points as you can. One technique that I'm using right here is to get precise. Since you can't click too close to one, is I'll click far away just to create that dot, and then I drag it in. Click far away, drag it in. Far away, drag it in. So then I do that all the way throughout his shape. Look at him. Click far away, drag it in. Click far away, drag it in. Once you get down here, you bring one all the way out of frame. That's what this guy's doing right here. You click one, then you drag it out and down. After that, you go over here and you click that last one, and it makes your cut. Here's our cut right here, and this is actually showing a layer that's underneath. This is our band shot. And so since we just cut out the background, that's the first thing that's going to show as a layer under. But really, I'm very impressed with how clean this shot is coming up. It looks really good, and I have high hopes already that this is going to be a really good shot for what we're looking for. We have not only the drama, but there's so much detail in this. So at this point, I take my longer strips that I was making earlier, and I add little details throughout them, and I round it. Round, round, round. Round, round, round. And take your time with this, because the better it is now, it really will come out better in the end, because you can use your feathering and expansion tools as you're going to see us do shortly, but a good mask will save you so much stress later, because if you make it real shitty and you don't put it on the lines, no matter how much feathering and expansion you use, you're never going to get that look that you're going for. So take your time with your mask, enjoy it. It's part of the process. So here we're going to take the part of the background that we want, and so I'm selecting a scene right after the other character leaves so that we don't even have to worry about him. What we're going to do is definitely we're going to punch in on this. I want as little character involvement as possible. So you see that I waited for the other character to leave. Now we do have him, but the plan is to put him behind him. So hopefully he's just gonna brush away, easy peasy. Boom, there's our first move, and you know, we have the background that we're looking for. We move it around, we look for what we're trying to get, and you punch it in to make it look like he's gonna be where he would be standing in that scene. So you zoom in, you push it around, and like we're gonna do shortly, we add our Gaussian blur, Gaussian blur. Take that, blur it. Wrong frame. Whoopsie. Undo, drag on top. Blur it, blur the back. Boom, boom. So at this point we take our expansion and our feather. Your expansion will bring your mask shape forward or backward, away or in. We go negative in order to kind of hug it a little bit, and then we feather. When you feather, you're gonna see your expansion leaking, and that's when you see me bringing it in. I tweak it for a while. I kind of bring my feather down so that I'm not relying on it so heavily until I get it to where I want it to be. At this point we start playing with color. We want it to look as part of the scene, so the first thing I do is to change the temperature. It's like an easy fix, so it's kind of just my first go-to. We want the dude to look blue, so how do we make him look blue? So we go to the temperature first, and we play with colors for a little bit until we get something like this. I want the colors changing to affect his face, and so at this point I experiment with the blending modes. I don't get what I'm looking for, but these are what some of the different kind look like, and blending modes can be a real savior. They didn't come in with what I was expecting this time, or really for what I was specifically looking for. Play with our feathers one more time. And now I'm starting to think that it looks pretty good. It's not bad. Right there, could use some brushing up. But if anything, it's a little bit of a light leak, and so we leave that. It gives it a sense of interaction with the lights around it. And how's that? We want to get rid of his little head right there. We turn off uniform scale, and we mush the image in accordance with the shape and in an effort to erase our guy from behind him. So now we have this scene. The lights are even changing, but they change opposite of the background. So I try to fight that for a second, and then what we're gonna do is we take out that bit where the light is dark. So we find where the light rises up, take that, cut it, move it, looking good, looking real good. Look at that. We even gave it some color, a little bit too much color. We come back later, it's okay. That's how it was before, and that's what it looks like now. How's that? How's that? We made this from scratch. Look where we're going. It's good stuff. So at this point, we watched it a little bit. We enjoy ourselves. We're proud of what we did. Watch it one more time. Check this out. It's so fast. Ooh, it's exactly what you're looking for. Take a little bit of camera shake, you put that on there. Nest it, camera shake it. Now, it's equally as alive as the last frame. Check that out. Check that out. Don't like that one, we'll try this one. A little bit less shaky, but a little bit more authentic. Yeah, I don't like that one either. Let's go back to this one. How about lots of movement? Zoom in till you lose that edge space. How's this? This is gonna look just like the other one. Yes, it's perfect. It's perfect. And we're satisfied for a moment. Next, what we're gonna do is add a little bit of bokeh. Katie wants some bokeh. She likes the bokeh in this shot. We're gonna take this shot and we're gonna give it a little bit of bokeh. So here's what we do. Even though you could foresee probably. So we just want to add it to him. Now we have camera movement in here. We have Lumetri color sitting on top of it. First thing that we need to do is grab the piece of bokeh that we want from right here, and we need to put it inside the nest. So we're going to take that bokeh, take the bokeh, clear all these other nests. I'm going to close these, close these, close these, close these. Okay. Put this in here. Now I've got the bokeh in the nest. This is a whole layer, right? Because we took a still frame of that image. Crop it. And this is kind of just like an easy mask to crop. I like the crop feature because it's easily malleable. Once you start making masks, is that they turn into these little dots that all go whatever direction. If you touch one, it goes the other way. If you touch the corner, it swings into a round. And the crop will do exactly what you want every single time. And it comes with a nice little feather attached to it. So we like the crop. I take this bokeh, I make a square out of it. Keep going, keep going, keep going, and boom, bokeh. Take that, we're gonna put it where we want it. Now, we want more bokeh. We want it to follow behind him like it does in the other scene. So we're gonna toy with it a little bit. Then we take another one. We're gonna make another bokeh layer, and we're gonna do the exact same thing with it, except we flip it. There we go. So I play around a lot right here with a mirror tool, and I keep trying to just make that one bokeh the other direction, and I do that for far too long. So I do this and I do that, and then I make this thing face that way, and I realize that I'm making it harder on myself than I need to. So eventually I give up on the mirror, and then we realize that we can just take this guy, dupe it, and then roll it. We roll it. Instead of mirroring it, we just roll it. So why we are doing this is because with this hard edge, we don't want this hard edge running into this guy. So we just want to put it over here so that we can mask it out. So we put the hard edge over there by rolling it instead of mirroring it. And now we've got the bokeh we're looking for without the hard edge that we aren't looking for, and it goes behind him. Ooh, except this part of the layer is actually going in front of him. So we mask, 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 and it goes, how do we do this? How do we fix this? How do we make this go around the guy instead of in front of the guy? It's quite a pickle, isn't it? But no, we're making this harder on ourselves than it needs to be, and we realize that. So these are all layers, people. If I want it behind the guy, I can just put it behind the guy. And that's all we have to do to make it look like it's behind the guy. So we take that. Watch this. Like 30 seconds forward. Flip. Flip. Where do we realize it? We realize it right here. We're like, oh shit. Move it. Done. It's behind him. Easy as that. Change, change, change. Then we go in and we tweak some colors. I try using the dropper tool right here for hue versus hue. That'll change it from one hue to another. it's not working how I want it to work. It's a lot of experimentation, and this didn't come out with what I was looking for. You see how it wasn't changing the whole aura of the bokeh? It was just changing this one particular part, so it wasn't giving us what we were wanting. And at that point, we give up on hue versus hue. That's when we go to our tints and temperatures. Remember earlier, whenever we were trying to change the color of his face and we tried tint and temperature first and it didn't give us exactly what we wanted? This is a moment when it does. Sometimes instead of changing hues in particular or really curve values, temperature and tint will change the white balance, which in something like light is exactly what you're looking for. So we do that, and when we get it exactly how we want it, what we do is we apply it to both of them, to play with the exposure a little bit, get it where we want it. So now we've got some bokeh. Keep playing with his mask a little bit, fix him up, touch him up. Look at this. Look at this, people. All right, we'll get out of there. Last but not least, we've got our scene here. So how's this? Look at that. It's really fast too, so that's as convincing as it needs to be. Doing this, we saved an entire setup, an entire packing of equipment, an entire driving to location, having costume prepared, having the contacts, the special effects of the costume prepared, having to take away this business, this bar's ability to operate normally, and us setting up the lights, sticking him in there, asking him to stare at nothing for however long we decide is comfortable for us. All of this is scrapped by just taking what we have with us and building this shot out of it. And as convinced or as unconvinced as you may be when you sit here and you stare at this frame, just look at this guy in motion. This is 2 seconds. Done. I'm convinced.